Trades in the NHL can define teams, alter the course of seasons, and even reshape the landscape of the league. Some can even haunt franchises for years to come. Let's look at 10 of the most controversial trades in NHL history. Number 1. The New York Rangers trade Jean Ratelle and Brad Park to the Boston Bruins. We're taking this one back to the 1970s to start, since this is one of the most controversial trades in NHL history. After losing to the Philadelphia Flyers in the 1974 playoff semifinals and being eliminated by the New York Islanders in the first round in 1975, the Rangers decided to make significant changes to their roster. In a bold move, the Rangers waived goalie Eddie Giacomin, allowing him to go to the Detroit Red Wings, and then traded center Jean Ratelle, defenseman Brad Park, and Joe Zanussi to the Boston Bruins. In return, they received high-scoring Phil Esposito and defenseman Karel Vadnais. The trade did not go as planned for the Rangers. Ratelle and Park went on to have outstanding careers with the Bruins. Esposito led the NHL in goals 6 times and assists 3 times with Boston. But in New York, he managed just one 40-goal season in 5 seasons. Number 2. The Rangers trade Rick Middleton to Boston. In 1976, the Rangers sought to even the score with Boston by trading Rick Middleton to the Bruins for veteran Ken Hodge. Middleton, regarded as a promising young talent, had scored 46 goals in his first 2 seasons with the Rangers, but was also known for enjoying the nightlife in New York a bit too much. Upon joining the Bruins, Middleton was coached by the outspoken Don Cherry, who had little tolerance for off-ice distractions. Under Cherry's strict guidance, Middleton focused more on his training and developed into a prolific scorer, netting 402 goals in 881 games for the Bruins. Conversely, Hodge's career with the Rangers was short-lived. He managed to score just 23 goals in 96 games before retiring. Number 3. Scott Stevens traded from the Blues by court order. Scott Stevens, renowned as one of the NHL's best hitters, significantly impacted hockey history with his controversial trade saga. Drafted by the Washington Capitals in 1982, his prowess led to a massive offer sheet from the St. Louis Blues in 1990, making him the highest-paid defenseman at the time. This move triggered a series of events, including Stevens being traded to the New Jersey Devils by court order, leading them to 3 Stanley Cups. Ron Caron, the Blues GM, faced penalties for tampering with contracts, culminating in his firing and a fine for the Blues. Stevens' high salary set a precedent for escalating player wages, contributing to the 1994 and 2005 NHL lockouts and the eventual implementation of a salary cap. The saga's ripple effects extended to future trades, ultimately leading to the Blues' first Stanley Cup win in 2019 with Jordan Binnington. This series of events showcases one of the most intricate and influential trade stories in NHL history.
The series is over. The wait is over. You don't get here without great goaltending, and down the stretch he got them to the playoffs, and more than anything, he was...
Number 4. Montreal Canadiens trade Patrick Roy. The Canadiens traded star goalie Patrick Roy and captain Mike Keane to the Colorado Avalanche for Zachary Thibault, Martin Ruchinski, and Andrei Kovalenko. This trade turned out to be a disaster for Montreal. In Colorado, Roy's presence transformed the Avalanche into perennial Stanley Cup contenders, leading them to victories in 1996 and 2001. Meanwhile, the Canadiens spiraled into a period of mediocrity and struggled to remain competitive for several seasons. Number 5. Winnipeg Jets trade Teemu Selanne to Anaheim. In one of the most impactful trades in NHL history, the Winnipeg Jets traded prolific goalscorer Teemu Selanne, along with Mark Chouinard, and a 4th-round pick to the Anaheim Mighty Ducks on February 6, 1996. In return, the Jets received first-round draft picks Chad Kilger and Oleg Tverdovsky, as well as a 3rd-round pick in the 1996 NHL entry draft. The deal changed Selanne's life as well as the Ducks franchise. The trade was a robbery. Selanne became the face of the franchise for many, many years to come, and still is to a certain extent. He's the greatest Duck of all time. Number 6. Vancouver Canucks trade Cam Neely and 1st-round pick to Boston. In his first 3 seasons with the Vancouver Canucks, Cam Neely scored 51 goals and had a -56 plus-minus rating, amassing over 300 penalty minutes. Canucks traded Neely and a 1st-round draft pick, which turned into defenseman Glenn Wesley, to the Boston Bruins for center Barry Peterson. Neely thrived in Boston, playing 10 seasons, scoring 344 goals, and adding 246 assists in 525 games. Known for his combination of strength and skill, he was one of the league's most feared forwards. He hit the 50-goal mark 3 times and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2005. In contrast, Peterson's career declined after the trade. He only reached the 20-goal mark once with the Canucks and ended up bouncing around the NHL with several teams. Number 7. New York Islanders trade Zdeno Chara to the Ottawa Senators. In June 2001, the New York Islanders made a disastrous trade. They sent Zdeno Chara, Bill Muckholt, and a first-round draft pick to the Ottawa Senators in exchange for Alexei Yashin. Yashin, a highly skilled and sought-after player, had been drafted 2nd overall by the Senators in 1992 and averaged just under a point per game, scoring 491 in 504 games over 7 seasons. On the other hand, Chara developed into one of the NHL's most intimidating and skilled defenders. With the Senators, he averaged around 25 minutes of ice time per game and scored 146 points in 299 games. The Senators used the Islanders' draft pick to select star player and future captain Jason Spezza. Yashin played 5 seasons with the Islanders before his contract was bought out. His performance declined with him scoring 290 points in 346 games. The Islanders ended up paying Yashin $2.2 million annually in buyout money from 2007 and 8 through 2014 and 15. Number 8. Calgary trades Brett Hull to the St. Louis Blues. In March 1988, the Calgary Flames made one of the most regrettable trades in NHL history. At just 23 years old, Brett Hull was having a stellar rookie season, racking up 50 points in his first 52 games. However, the Flames traded Hull, along with Steve Bozak, to the St. Louis Blues in exchange for Rob Ramage and Rick Wamsley. Ramage was the more skilled player the Flames received. He was a solid defender who could also contribute offensively, but he played only 1 full season with Calgary before being traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Goaltender Rick Wamsley, primarily a backup, spent parts of 4 seasons with the Flames before also being traded to the Leafs. Meanwhile, Brett Hull quickly established himself as one of the NHL's most prolific goal scorers in St. Louis. In his debut season, he scored 41 goals, followed by impressive totals of 72, 86, and 70 goals in his next 3 seasons. Over his 11 years with the Blues, Hull recorded 527 goals and 936 points in 744 games. His remarkable career earned him a spot in the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2009. Number 9. Kings trade for Jeff Carter. At the time of the trade in 2012, the Los Angeles Kings had a solid team defensively, but couldn't score if their lives depended on it. They were just outside the playoff picture. Jeff Carter was having a miserable first season in Columbus, and he was seen as an underperforming and petulant locker room cancer. The trade was a huge risk at the time. 3 months later, the Kings were Stanley Cup winners, and Carter rebounded his image, except in Columbus, of course, and later in Pittsburgh as well. Number 10. Oilers trade Wayne Gretzky to the Los Angeles Kings. In August 1988, the Edmonton Oilers executed what is arguably the most controversial trade in NHL history, sending Wayne Gretzky to the LA Kings in a complex 8-player deal. At just 26 years old, Gretzky still had a significant career ahead of him. However, financial troubles faced by then Oilers owner Peter Pocklington compelled the team to part ways with the greatest player in hockey history. In exchange, the Oilers received 2 players and 3 first-round draft picks. Among the picks was Jimmy Carson, who played only 2 seasons in Edmonton. Martin Gelinas was another player acquired, though he had a modest impact in his 4 years with the team. Of the 3 picks, Jason Miller appeared in only 6 NHL games, and Nick Stajuhar played just 2. Meanwhile, Martin Ruchinski became a solid player. He also saw limited time with the Oilers, appearing in only 2 games. Gretzky, meanwhile, moved to Los Angeles and continued to showcase his dominance in the NHL. In 539 games with the Kings, he amassed an astonishing 918 points. Though he couldn't lead the Kings to a Stanley Cup, he remained the league's standout player. Inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1999, Gretzky concluded his legendary career with 2,857 points in 1,487 games, along with 4 Stanley Cup victories. Let us know in the comments if we missed a trade you thought should have made the list. And subscribe to Puck Talk TV so you don't miss an upload.